Hey ladies, I am back to give you another gardening video. Do not lose faith. All the videos on this channel are not about gardening. Gardening happens to be what I've been getting started now because it's gardening season is coming in. If it's your first time visiting my channel, how are you? My name is Giovanni and I am just here trying to share my knowledge because I really believe that there is enough knowledge and love to go around to everyone. What good is knowledge if you can't spread it? So this video is about how to up pot, separate, and thin your seedlings after you've planted them. If you don't know what seedlings are or how to plant them, there'll be a video here that'll show you exactly how to plant seeds and get you started growing your own garden. So this video is going to show you exactly what you need to do once those seeds are planted. And I hope you guys enjoy. If you're not new to my channel, welcome back. Subscribe to become part of the tribe. Let's get this video started. So far what I have here is a bowl of dirt. Well, I keep saying dirt, but let's get used to calling this soil. Right, bowl of soil. I have my plant pots that I'm going to be transplanting into, and I'm going to be also transplanting into these as well. This is a bag of vermicelli worm castings. I use them to fertilize my garden. They'll help to provide a good root system for my plants as I transplant them. So I'm going to move the bowl aside. And I am going to bring the plants forward. Actually, let me put them on this side. Okay, now as you can see, I've already done some of the transplants. And so here I am continuing. So I'll leave these here for a few purposes. Okay, so here we go. First things first, we want to fill up a cup with soil. Fill up your cup the same way we filled it up when we first started these seeds. Pat down a little lightly, and we're gonna just fill this cup completely with soil. Okay, there we are. And I have that here. I'm gonna set that aside there. This is the next plant that I'm going to separate here. So you can use a tool, a popsicle stick, or something. I can't find what my children have done with my little skewer, so I'm gonna just dig my finger down into the pocket. And as you can see, these are green peppers, and as you can see, the roots are starting to wind. They're starting to become root bound because that container is too small for these two plants. So what you want to do is, if this was just one plant, I would be just roughing up the bottom, or loosening up the bottom roots, and then transplanting this whole thing into the cup. But because we have two green pepper plants here, as you can see, there are two. I'm going to untangle the roots and just kind of get the dirt off. So it's kind of like when you detangle your hair. So you start at the ends and just kind of knocking all the dirt off a little to expose the ends. And then it'll start to loosen up the two plants. Like right now, they're still a little tight. You don't want to pull on those because you'll start popping the roots. So we'll still go back to the bottom and make sure they're as detangled as we can get them. And if it's still feeling tight, you just got to work until they are all detangled. That just means that the roots are still hugging one another. Okay, there we go. So look, they're just coming apart now. And that's how you separate the two peppers. if you don't want to have to do this, then you would drop one seed in each cell, or your other option would be to thin them out, and I will show you how to do that as well. So normally I would just lay these down. I have 2 cups here already ready with soil, and basically what I would do is take the cup and I would stick my finger down. You see how long those roots were? So I'm making a hole in this cup, and this is just a scoop of worm castings. I'm not adding this whole scoop, but I'm going to sprinkle some worm castings down into this hole. And I'm doing a video on worm castings, and as soon as that video is posted, you'll find an iCard will pop up right here at the top, well, at the top of the screen. So I'm going to take my plant here, and I'm just going to let the roots go into the hole. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to hold it where this plant is supposed to sit, and then I'm going to just cover it back with the dirt that I moved out of the way. And then you just press around the plant to give it stabilization, and you are done. That's how you would transplant. I'm gonna do another one. So normally I would be able to poke through the bottom of this carton, but it's tearing up the carton, so I've got to dig down. Once again, I'm gonna shake the soil off of some of the roots, and this one just came right apart. See? You don't have to worry about the soil being stuck to the roots, because that can just go in with the cup, in the cup as is. So we fill another cup with some soil, press, 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 complete the fill. And we make that hole deep enough. We put some worm castings inside of the hole for a healthy root system. It's going to help it to really give this plant a good start. And we're going to take this whole piece and let the roots fall into the hole. Hold it while it's kind of sitting where it needs to be. So I'm going to let it go. And press and press. Done. And that is how you transplant your seedlings if you have them all planted in together with one another. And the reason that we did that, planting them together, is because you're not sure of what will germinate and what will not. So that way you give yourself a higher chance. And if 2 germinate, then you can separate them into 2 different pots, like so. So there we go. Press it in so it stands up straight. And that one's done as well. And that's how you are going to separate and repot your seedlings. So I'm going to show you now how we're going to deal with these peat pellet pots. For the peat pellet pots, you want to just put some dirt in there, not a whole bunch, because that peat pellet has to fit down into this space. Okay, so I'm going to take the label off, make sure I know where that is, and I'm going to you're going to peel this off. Now they tell you could leave it on, but I find that it's just works better for me, like when I peel them off. So I got it out, right, and I'm going to sprinkle some worm castings down here. I'm going to interrupt or free up these roots a little, and I'm going to place this right into this pot, and I'm going to add some soil around it to secure it. And then you're going to press on the sides of it to make sure that it is sturdy. And that plant is done. And now we can replace our label. If you want to make your tomato grow stronger stems, so to promote a healthier, more sturdy plant, then you can bury it deeper, because what tomatoes do is they shoot out roots anywhere soil is touching. So now that this stem was longer than this, but because I planted some of the stem, the part of the stem that's planted, it's going to shoot roots out of it now. So this is going to make this plant even more sturdy. And I'm going to replace my stake. Make sure you pay attention to where you're putting your stakes, because that gets very confusing. And just to show you how some of the other plants are developing, this is a cherry tomato in the larger peat pellet. It's growing pretty large. And here is a red cherry tomato. We planted 3. This is 3 of them, but you see how much bigger these are than these. And that's because there's more space in the cup to grow it. And I wish you could smell this right now. They're so fragrant. And I'm gonna have to separate these out as well, and these roots are going to be even more entangled with one another. There's our marbles. And to water your seedlings, I didn't mention this in the last video. I would put water in this cup, fill it up to about this top line, and then I would set this in there, and it would sit on top at first, and then as it drinks, it'll sink down. And when your plant is looking dark, the soil's dark again on top, that's when you know it's time to pull it out. It's well hydrated. Okay, now I'm going to press the cup to make the plant get loose. Look at that. Look at it. These were planted for the same amount of time as the other ones we transplanted. Now, this is going to be a lot harder to transplant. So we start by the root, by the ends, right? So let's rough this up a bit. I just watered these last night, so this soil is very wet. Okay, I'm just gonna mush, mush, mush. Because the dirt is so wet, it's not crumbling, so it makes it a little harder to not destroy this poor plant. I'm just lightly squeezing and turning to just loosen up some of this situation here. Okay. There we go. They're coming, and now this dirt is heavy on the roots, so I don't want it to pop any of the roots. So you see how strong this plant is. Just give it a little spanking. You might pop some of the roots, but in order to get these transplanted, you might have to do it. And a lot of plants will go through transplant shock. None of mine did. Just keep kind of twirling it to loosen this dirt, the soil. Nothing's pulling yet apart, so we gotta still keep going. These roots are intertwined like crazy. You just have to be very gentle about it. There we go. There we go. So we got one out. And the good thing is that if you plant it a little deeper than it was originally, that you could still, it'll shoot out more roots. So the loss of roots won't be that devastating on a tomato. But if this was a pepper, it would be less of a chance that that plant would last through this. Okay, I'm gonna fill up a cup, and I'm gonna get that in this cup. There we go. Let's make some space for those wonderful roots. Let's put some worm castings in. A little extra for this plant because it's a more mature plant. And we're gonna push it, let it put itself down in. And like I said, we're not gonna bury it to that level. We're gonna put it down a little lower than it was. This pot is kind of big for me to hold it and show you at the same time, but there it is. We make do. You gotta make sure that plant is straight up, so you push down on the sides. You can always add more soil around it, but as long as that plant is in there nice and sturdy. And then we would water it and call it a day. You can tear off the seed leaves, which are these two down here, and this is just another plant, and I'm going to show you how to thin that right now. So you can either get a pair of scissors or you can use a nail, your fingernail, and you would just pinch it off. This is how you thin plants. So if you have two planted together and you don't want to, see, I'm breaking off the seed leaves and just leaving the true leaves, and that's just fine because the seed leaves were just there to take in the light to form the true leaves. So that is our tomato, our red cherry tomato, and the stake goes back in. So I'm gonna go ahead and pot up the rest of these. I hope this helped with how to transplant and how to thin your seedlings. Thinning, you would just cut off the extra stalks of the plant. So say if I wanted to thin this, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tomato plants in here. 6 actually. I would cut all but one. I would pick the strongest one and I would leave that in there, and I would cut all the others off, and that would just be one plant. But because I can turn that into 6 cups, that's what I'm doing, and they can live through it, which is wonderful. So up to you if you have room in your garden, or if you're planting to for business, then you might want to try and save those seedlings and separate them, separating and transplanting them. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Have a good one. I hope this helped someone out there. If this is giving you value, please like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Please leave comments and let me know what you guys are feeling, what you guys are wanting to see. It'll be nice to communicate with some of you, and it helps me a great deal when you do that. So yeah, so let's support one another. All right, thank you so much, and have a blessed one. May the Most High bless you, keep you, and cause his face to shine upon you and give you peace. Peace.